G'day viewers, welcome back to the channel. It's Mel here with his co-host Poindexter and occasional co-host Kaz, who will pop in every so often to say g'day Kaz. So what we are looking at today are Carrera Digital 132 scale Mario Karts. So you got Mario and Yoshi. I think they came out in 2023. I'm sure someone in the comment section can tell me exactly when. What I'm going to be doing is some modifications to Mario. And then, of course, eventually I'll end up doing the same thing to this guy. People would know that we've got a Carrera Digital track. Probably less known is the fact that majority of our racing is done at night. No, we're not going to put lights on, but Kaz was complaining about, on certain parts of the track, struggling to see the cars. I am working on 2 scenery pieces to help, but we needed something to make these guys stand out a little bit. And if you used to play the old Nintendo Mario Kart, you know one of the famous things has something to do with this. So I think I've dribbled on enough. Let's get into showing you exactly what we do to this fella. Well, it's pretty obvious that we're going to be working on the exhaust. So just taking a beforehand shot. Let's get into it. All right, I've taken apart the rear exhaust on the Mario Kart. Now, that's the cover for it. Oops, show you what it looks like there. I didn't realise that these are actually got little screws to take those components out, which is great because I'm going to get a knife to cut that flat, drill my hole through there for the LED, and then I can work it. Just going to get Poindexter. I can work it around, and I just got to drill out that section here to poke it in. Oops. So it will spit out there, and then I can go loop it down through the hole. So this is the LED I'm talking about. That will be able to work all the way up there. That should work out apples. Big time apples for that. Anyway, and cool bananas. So I'll start screwing around with this. Okay, last night I drilled out all the holes I required. You can see I've put tape to protect the actual paint. So what the process was, I got a little 1mm cable, sorry, 1mm drill bit, drilled in from this angle, and then also from this angle, and they met up halfway between, if you know what I mean. So I did pilot holes with a 1mm, went up to 1.5. 1.5 still wasn't big enough, so I went to the 2mm. Also, if you decide to have a crack at something like this, sometimes a trick to do is, if you're worried about how, going in too deep and punching a hole out the side, just put a bit of tape on it, measure how deep you want it to go, put a piece of tape on like that, and then you just drill to that pre-gauged depth, and you won't have to worry about punching through. I actually run the drill on really slow speed, and just take your time. Patience is a virtue, as they say. So this has all been drilled out, ready to go for the lights. And it's going to be hard to show on this and do it at the same time. There you go, look at that. It's come through. Cut off the nipple and then drilled 2mm hole. Now the LED, as you can see the hole, it's going to have to be flush, because when it goes back on with this guy, it's got to slide. Oops, it's hard to show, but it's got to slide in like so. So you don't want the LED protruding, or you're going to damage it as you try to slide this cover back on. Now I'll grab, so these little rectifiers, which is also the flashing part, they're going to get tucked up inside here, because that was another thing I had to do, was cut off the little bracket edges, or the reinforcement for the plastic edges, to make it more roomy, to allow these guys to actually sit in here. Hopefully the camera's showing you. So they will fit there. Also on the body, I've drilled a hole here, so the actual leads will go through that. And I don't think I really showed you just before, it's got a very unique chip for these guys. And from what I can tell too, the car only has the one, see the one magnet here? Has that magnet there. There's nothing here, it's just nice big fat ventilation holes. Kaz and I find these a lot of fun to drive. They're also very frustrating because we do not touch the back tyres. It's probably not hard to show, but the tyres are really concave. They got bugger all grip. It makes them very challenging, but also very rewarding when you're driving them. A lot of fun personally. I find the larger the track, it seems to suit not such as the twisty tracks, but the fast tracks like our car. Sorry, our track seems to be fast and flowy, so this actually suits it better. And I've heard people change the tyres out. Me personally, I like the fact that these are different, how they handle. So we're happy just to leave the tyres as is. Don't even try to true them. So they're good fun anyway. All right, got the lights all together last night. I had to go to plan B for the rectifiers. Now, I originally said I was going to put the rectifiers under this motor here. But even after notching it out, they were just too large to actually put in this gap here. So what I've done, I've drilled 2 pilot holes and then just reamed out the hole to suit the size of the rectifiers. So they've been slid through. And as you can see, they're going to get glued to the body here and there. So they make sure there's clearance from the motor, which, by the way, there's plenty of clearance with this guy. The other thing too is, I was talking about taking your time for drilling the holes. I was in a rush to get the lights all glued in, and so then I could continue on with this today. In my rush, I picked up, now these sections here, which you can see the Phillips head there, yeah. You saw them sitting there on the table. They are definitely a left and a right, because there's a notch for this yellow bar just here. Unfortunately, in my rush to get it done, guess what? I stuffed up, did the wrong one. So it meant I had to cut them and waste half an hour resoldering the cables, as you can see the heat shrink here. So don't do what I did. If you're going to look at doing something like this, take your time, make sure you get the correct pieces before you glue them all in. So when I do the Yoshi one, I'll make sure I won't do that mistake. Okay, I've glued in the rectifier / flashing units using the Erudite Ultra Clear, my trusty go-to glue. I've pinned them in the fronts as well. Also, where my dodgy joins are, I've glued them down to make sure there's no rattling from the cables. I've left plenty of length on the cables just so once these are connected to the terminal points here and here, that I can still take the body off the chassis, so I can do the old U-Butte maintenance, give it a oil and grease change. Also, you would notice, of course, the go-kart motor is back on, and that was just a little Phillips head here. So there's actually 3 screws you got to undo to fully disassemble it. I think maybe Carrera, in hindsight, sort of made it easy for everybody to pull it apart, just so you could actually put some lights in. I mean, if they did, that's great, but it's obviously just the manufacturing process. But hey, I like to think that maybe that's what they were doing it for. So the next time you see this car, we'll be back on the track. I decided to show that I've done the soldering on the motor. So see what I mean by the length, so you can still have the cover off. And that's another reason why I've pinned them, so that it doesn't put pressure on the terminals on the actual rectifier. Now, I'll just quickly move that out the way for a sec. When I'm using this really thin gauge cable, me personally, look, you can strip it, but I'm not sure if there's still any heat in the soldering iron. But what I do is I just run the actual soldering iron across the surface. As you can see, it's melting off the actual insulation. And then the rest of it will come off. Voila. I think that catches it, the camera. And what I've still got a delivery rocked up. Whoops. So, looking at Poindexter here. These MJKs. I'm going to try them on my BMW, see if they fit. From all accounts, it should be pretty close. I got 2 Carrera digital chips. If you subscribe to my channel and you watch my videos, you'll know I've got a Revo Viper with the PlayStation livery on it. I've installed lights. Finally, this chip will be for that. So look out for a video on the Revo PlayStation. If you're not subscribed, hey, live life on the edge. Subscribe. Feel free to comment and leave a thumbs up if you like the video. I think that's enough kiss-assing by me. You know what to do. Anyway, we will now go to the track. All right, we're trackside now. Mario, as you know, has been fitted out. Yoshi's going to have to be done at a later stage. On driving duties is Kaz. Say g'day, Kaz.
G'day, Kaz.
All right, I'll get in a better position. And Kaz will take it for a spin. All right, Kaz, let it rip. So, what's your thoughts, Kaz?
Yeah, it's cool.
Just still struggling going back, obviously, back towards this. That's it?
Yeah.
But other than that, happy with it?
Yeah, very happy.
So you want that on, Yoshi?
Yes, please.
No worries. Final thoughts on the cars. I reckon they're a great little slot car for kids of all ages. I just would like to see a couple more characters. Come on, Carrera, do it. Bye.